Welcome to the Ask Donna Advocacy in Action podcast, hosted by Donna J. Jodhan, a world-renowned advocate, author, blogger, sight loss coach, dinner mystery writer, and producer, entrepreneur, law graduate, and podcast commentator. Drawing on her vast experience, Donna is here to guide you through the world of advocacy, showing you how to be an effective and powerful advocate in your everyday life. In this podcast, you'll learn what advocacy truly means, how it's used, why it's essential, who uses it, and when to apply it, whether for simple tasks or major challenges. Advocacy is not for the faint of heart, but is something that everyone can practice. Success comes through persistence, patience, and unwavering commitment. Tune in and discover how to make advocacy part of your daily life.
Hello, and I am Donna J. Jodhan, your host for the Ask Donna Advocacy in Action, and it is the month of September 2025. I hope that everyone had a great summer, no matter where you were, what you were doing, and how you were doing it. And now, it is time to look forward to the fall of 2025. I don't know where time has gotten to, but time is marching on. So, I'd like to thank every one of you for having continued and continuing to drop by to listen to my Advocacy in Action. So it's Ask Donna Advocacy in Action monthly podcast. Thank you for your thoughts, your feedback, your ideas, your comments, everything. Keep on writing to me at either donnajodhan@gmail.com or to me at askdonnaonblindlife@gmail.com. And a good shout out to my brother in Montreal, Michael. I hope you're doing good, sir. Michael is my adopted little brother, and he calls me his big sister. Hi to you, Michael, and hi to Heather, your wonderful wife. So, I am going to start off my monthly Ask Donna Advocacy in Action with my usual quote that I plucked from somewhere along the line. Okay? Here it is. Speak in such a way that others love to listen to you. Okay? Listen in such a way that others love to speak to you. I really like this quote because I think it truly reflects insightfulness. It incites consideration. It incites a lot of deep thinking. So that is my quote for this month. Okay. Moving on, I would like to draw your attention to my ETSY announcement, Etsy. Please go to www.etsy.com/shop/blindlybrilliant and you'll get a good view of the pottery pieces that I am selling, why I am selling it, and how I am using it to really develop creativity, to develop imagination. It's another therapy outlet for me and for others. Okay. It is also available at www.accesspark.shop. All right. So, this is my philosophy. Advocacy has no color, it has no shape, it has no size. Advocacy has no limit, no guarantee, and no expectation. Advocacy can only be successful through hard work and consistent commitment. Okay? Okay, there needs to be sustained persistence if advocacy is to be successful. Okay? I have an inspirational message for you to start off this podcast as well for the month of September. Okay? Embracing September with hope. As September arrives, it carries with it the whispers of change, and it does so in the crisp morning air and the golden hues of the setting sun. It is a month of transition. It is a bridge between the warmth of summer and the quiet embrace of autumn. With each falling leaf, we are reminded that change is not the end. No, it is not the end. It is the beginning of something very new. This is a time for us to renew our hopes, to set fresh intentions, and to walk forward with courage. Whatever challenges August may have left behind, September offers the chance to begin again. The days ahead hold promise, new opportunities, unexpected blessings, and moments of joy just waiting to unfold. Let this month be of faith in the future. Let it be a month of fun. Let this be the month of faith in the future. Okay? Of dreams rekindled. Okay? Take note. And hearts opened to the beauties of life and nature. Keep moving forward with hope in your heart, for the best is yet to come. I am wishing you a September filled with light, with love, and endless possibilities. Isn't that a beautiful inspirational message? It's all about hope. It's all about faith. It's all about making sure that you are ready for new changes. This is what September is all about. Okay. So what is my advocacy in action all about? You know, people often ask, well, what really is advocacy? And you would be very, very surprised to learn that advocacy is everywhere. Advocacy is all around us. It doesn't matter what we do, where we are, and how we do it. But this is what advocacy is. It could be soft, it could be hard. Okay? So, advocacy is all about speaking up and speaking out. And what do I mean by speaking up and speaking out? These are two very, very similar actions. You speak up when you are not happy about something. You also speak out when you're not happy about something. You speak up or you speak out when you want to affect new change, or you want to change something existing to be more powerful and potent. This is what advocacy is all about. It's all about engaging with those around you, with those that you don't even know, with those that you've never even met. Okay? You communicate. This is what you use advocacy for. You use advocacy to communicate with others and to reach out to others. This is what advocacy is all about. And who gets involved in advocacy? Anyone can, from ages 2 to 92, as the Christmas song says, sung by Frank Sinatra. Anyone and everyone can get involved in advocacy. Anyone of any age, from the little child who is just 2 years old or 3 years old, advocating to their parents for something that they would like to have. This is what advocacy is all about. To the preteen, who again is advocating to teachers and to parents. To the high school student who is doing the same by speaking up, speaking out, seeking ways to improve classroom conditions, seeking ways to interact with teachers and fellow students. This is who gets involved with advocacy. College or university student advocating for better online facilities to write exams or to be able to have greater access to information online or to their professors online. These are the ones who get involved. The professional who is at their workplace, their physical workplace, and looking to advocate for various, things in their workplace, better communications with their managers, with their fellow employees. They're advocating for a physical thing, such as a better printer or better computers, things like that. These are the ones who get involved with advocacy. Then we go to the unemployed person. The unemployed person is one who advocates for better ways to find jobs, better ways to develop resumes, better ways to reach employers. And we have good old mom and good old dad and the single parent, right? These are the ones who get involved in advocacy for their own reason. Mom and dad on behalf of their kids or on behalf of themselves, okay? Single parent who wants better facilities, who wants greater access for them and their children. And the semi-retiree getting ready for retirement, but wants to make sure that when they do get to retirement, everything that they would need, of everything that is of importance to them, are in place. And the retiree who is advocating through family members and through friends and through their MPs and through their members of Congress for better living conditions. And of course we have our senior who is doing the same thing, advocating for better living in long-term care homes. And we have the person with a disability who needs to make advocacy a lifelong mission, because there are always going to be things that they would need to advocate for. Okay? And why is advocacy necessary? I keep telling you this every month. Advocacy is necessary in order to raise issues, in order to raise awareness. So you raise issues that are taking place, you raise awareness so that others can learn and work with you to ensure that the world is a better world around you and for others. And why is it necessary? In order to train others, make them more aware. Advocacy is necessary when one wants to launch a campaign, be it online or offline. And to petition, again, online or offline. to change an existing situation. Okay? Yeah? So often we use advocacy to change an existing condition or to create something new. All right? These are all reasons as to why one should get involved in advocacy. And how do you get involved in advocacy? It's not as difficult as you may think. You could start off by doing it on your own, which I did many years ago, but it's not the easiest of paths to take. It is probably better to do it with others. But there are benefits and advantages and disadvantages for this. If you do it on your own, you have more control, but it's harder work. If you do it with others, there's cooperation there, but there's less control and there's more time to be spent interacting, engaging, and communicating with others. Okay? You could do it with groups. Get involved with groups of interest, groups that are of interest to you, with agencies for and of persons with disabilities. I'd like for you to remember that there's a big difference between agencies for persons with disabilities as opposed to agencies of persons with disabilities. They have different missions, but at the end of the day, they're supposed to be all on the same page. Okay? You can get involved in social media through Facebook, okay? Through podcasts, having your own podcast, or participating in the podcast of others. Through blogs, articles, and editorials, if you love to write, this is one very effective way of writing blogs, editorials, and articles, and then having them circulated. And through press releases, which may be a bit more lofty, but the press release avenue is certainly there. And through interviews, whether these interviews are by phone, whether these interviews are virtually or face-to-face. Get involved with interviews. Being interviewed by others or interviewing others, as I said before. Or through round tables. Bring stakeholders who have common interests, passions, and dreams together. Be a facilitator. Be a part of a round table, whether this round table is virtual or face-to-face. This again is a very effective way of advocacy. Or through conferences. You attend conferences and share your opinions. Share what you've written. Talk to others. Influence others in many, many ways. Or listen to what influencers are saying, the message that they are giving. Or through town halls, virtually or face-to-face. These days, a lot more town halls are taking place virtually, and it is an effective way to bring stakeholders together. You bring consumer advocates together, you bring companies and advocates who want to interact with each other to give each other their respective message. Okay? When do you get involved in advocacy? At any drop of the hat, you do. When it affects you directly, when it affects others that you care about. So if something affects you directly, for example, you have trouble navigating a sidewalk because of the clutter on the sidewalk, you get involved in advocacy. When it affects others that you care about. So if your parents are having difficulty in long-term care facilities, you get involved on behalf of your parents. Okay? When you have a concern or passion, so that they're all intertwined. Or you may have a dream or an interest. You get involved in advocacy. Okay. Enough about advocacy, describing advocacy. Okay? How do you go about picking the battle that you decide to advocate for or on behalf of? You got to think of which one is most achievable to you. Which one of the battles you're contemplating most excites you? Which one would bring you the greatest of satisfaction at the end of the day? A lot for you to think about when choosing your battle. Right? Which one of the battles you're contemplating will make you most happy? Because I tell you, from hardcore experience, not every battle is a pleasant battle. Not every battle is one that you want to get involved with, but one that you are almost forced to do because of circumstances. So, you got to decide which one is the one for you. How long is it going to take to get this battle done and over with? Hard to tell. You can probably never fully estimate the length of a battle. How many resources do you have at your disposal to get involved in this battle? Okay? Personal resources or resources that you could tap into from others. Okay? And how do you plan your strategy? How do you plan your strategy? You've got to do your research, and it has to be constructive research, end-to-end research. In your planning your strategy, you have to decide very early in the game, who do you contact in order to have others help out? Okay? The contacts must be those who can directly help you, not indirectly help you. But then again, there are always contacts who can either directly or indirectly help you. And you got to decide which of your contacts are the ones who will bring you the quickest results, as opposed to the ones who will bring you results but not right away. Okay? What method are you going to use? Are you going to use the face-to-face method, the virtual method, the social media method? Which kind of method are you going to use? And the message you're going to convey, make sure that you're very clear as to the type of message you're going to convey. The message must be the right length, the message must be conveyed in the right time, and to the right audience. Following up, very, very, very important. You cannot just, send a message out there to social media or to your friends not without following up. A 2-week time period is probably what I would suggest for following up. You don't want to follow up too soon. You don't want to have people get tired of you. You want to make your follow-up a timely follow-up, okay? I suggest 2 weeks, okay? Good. So I've told you how to pick and choose your battle and what you need in order to carry out your battle. All right, let's go on to a word game that I have developed. And I'm going to give you 2 pairs of words for you to contemplate and think about. Okay? How are you going to carry out your advocacy? What is the difference between a blog and a podcast? A blog is when you write something and you circulate it far and wide on social media. You use this method much more quickly, much more efficiently in order to circulate your blog. So put it onto social media, circulate it to lists, email lists to which you belong, and the blogs must be relevant. Okay? That's what a blog is all about. Don't make it too long. Don't make it too short. Populate your blogs with words that are meaningful and effective. through a podcast. This is a more direct method. Okay? A blog is where you write and you send. A podcast is where you speak and you interact. So that is the difference between a blog and a podcast. Okay? Let's think of both. Both can be used in very effective ways. Okay? Then you got to think of local versus national. Local is when it is in your own community. Let's just say in your own town or your own municipality, in your own immediate area. So in my case, local, it could be within Scarborough, Ontario, where I live, okay, or the city of Scarborough, or the city of Toronto. National is when it goes national, it goes viral, it goes across Canada. Do you want your advocacy to be the local or national? And only you can decide how broad your advocacy ought to be if it has a hope of gaining traction. Okay? All right. So those are the two sets of words I'd like you to think about. Blog versus podcast and local versus national. Okay? Now I'm going to end my podcast with some stories that I've gathered for you. And let's see how we get on with these. Here's our first story. No relief areas for guide dogs. Okay? All right. Marianne is a regular traveler with her guide dog, Lucy. She travels domestically and internationally, and she continues to fight hard for her guide dog to be able to use relief areas that are clean and easy to get to when she travels, or even when she's at a hotel or at a restaurant. But Marianne wants to know, who should she be approaching to solve her problem? Should it be the airport authority that she should be going to, which I would say yes, but you got to make sure that you are going to the right person at the airport authority, because the airport authority is a large organization. So you got to do some homework, you got to do some research. Start with your local MP, see if they can help you from there, and be very, very persistent. Or should you be going to the airline? Again, an airline is a huge organization, and you need help to help you out. Get that help from your local MP or your local MPP. In the case of the airport authority and the airline, I would suggest your local MP, your Member of Parliament, your federal Member of Parliament, not necessarily your provincial Member of Parliament, because airlines and airport authorities fall under the jurisdiction of the federal government. No harm in trying with your MPP, who would often tell you who your MP is. And who else do you think Marianne should be contacting? You've got to decide if this is federal or provincial. That is very important for you to determine. You know, it doesn't hurt to write blogs and get involved in podcasts about this. No. And you could also involve others, such as consumer agencies. What are your thoughts on this? Write to me at donnajodhan@gmail.com with your thoughts. Okay. Advocacy is all about Marianne and wanting better services for her guide dogs. areas that are easier to access and that are clean for her dog when they go to the relief areas. And who gets involved? Well, of course, it's Marianne who starts off first by wanting to get involved on behalf of her dog Lucy. Why is advocacy necessary? Because Marianne wants something done for relief areas for her dog. And how do you get involved? You need the help of others to do so. Your local MP or your federal MP. Just determine which one it's going to be. It could be a combination of both, but make sure you know the jurisdiction under which your complaint could fall, whether it's provincial or federal. And when do you get involved in advocacy? When something affects you directly. Okay? So that's the first story. Now for my second story. A church refuses to admit a child with a disability. Yes, indeed. Sometimes the church also is guilty of things that need to be advocated for. Okay? Here's the story. Okay? Stefano and Anna have been told by their pastor that they would not be allowed to bring their son Nico to church every Sunday. They can bring their 3 other kids, but not Nico. The pastor has given as his reason that because Nico has a disability, he would be a distraction. He feels that because Nico is vision impaired and unable to use his arms, that people would be staring at him in church instead of listening to the pastor. The pastor keeps saying that Nico would be a distraction. Stefano and Anna have pleaded with the pastor to let them bring little Nico to church. They do not want to leave Nico with a friend or neighbor when attending Mass. They believe that Nico should be with his family. You know, Nico is smart and knows how to follow the Mass despite having a vision impairment and despite not being able to use his arms. Stefano and Anna strongly believe that this is discrimination. What do you think these parents should do next? And who should they be reaching out to? I'd like to know what you think. I think I know what I would do and what I've helped to do. I would go past the pastor of the church. I would go to the bishop of the parish where the church resides. And I would go up and up and up. But it's a very lengthy process, a tiresome process, a frustrating process. But I would also suggest that you grab others along the way in your cause. Should it be Nico's school that gets involved? Should it be the bishop that gets involved? All of these, in my opinion, should be involved. Okay? Okay. What is advocacy here? It's when Stefano and Anna feel the need to advocate on behalf of their little boy, Nico. Who gets involved? Stefano and Anna start the ball rolling, and then they get others involved as they move along. Why is it necessary? Because Nico is being deprived his right to attend church with his parents and his siblings. And how do you get involved? You've got to have others fight the battle with you. You can't do it on your own. And when do you get involved? When this is a problem, as it is here, that you got to get involved. All right. And here's the third and final story of the month for me. All right. Schools have said that they do not get involved in handing out charitable funds to students with special needs. My. This is a true story, okay? They think that it is all about charity handouts, but it is not charity handouts, okay? Fran had approached her school, which is her alma mater, to see if they would be interested to give out a, well, I don't want to call it charitable donation, but or not a donation really, but funds to a deserving person or student with a disability. All right? Especially a student who was about to enter high school. Because Fran felt that any sort of financial assistance would help to a deserving student, and this is why she had approached her school. And the student was one who would be entering Fran's alma mater. Okay? The Student Association told Fran that they were not in the business of giving out charity, even after Fran had pleaded for them to listen to her case. They refused. Fran went to great lengths to tell the spokesperson for the association about her story. And she was looking for ways to promote this, because she not only wanted this to be for her child, she wanted this to be an annual affair where the school would take it upon themselves to give, maybe call it a partial scholarship, to a deserving person or student with a disability entering the school. What do you think Fran should do next? You know, if the Students Association is lending a deaf ear to all of this, should Fran go to teachers, to the principal, to the school board? What should Fran do? The one thing I would say is that too many schools get involved in these so-called campaigns where they pass around these tins and ask students to put in some money because it's all for the blind or vision impaired. And I know of one incident one day where a student who is attending a specific school was having lunch with her friends, and around came the tins. The tins were being passed around so that the students could put money into it to help students outside of the school or help blind people in the community. This student was upset, angry, frustrated, really, really upset. And when the tin came to them, you know what they did? They took the tin and overturned it. When they were asked why they did it, they said, because I am not a charity case. Don't treat me like a handout. Contribute funds for a worthy cause. Don't just use a tin and have it filled with coins so that it could be sent to the Blind Welfare Association. And that's another thing. Blind Welfare Association. It's a demeaning title to any sort of association. Okay? So what do you think Fran should do next? Who should she be reaching out to? Okay? send us your feedback to donnajodhan@gmail.com or ask Donna on blindlife@gmail.com with your thoughts. Very, very important. Okay? So, in this case, what is advocacy? Advocacy is when Fran feels the need to have her school, her alma mater, get involved in developing a scholarship to help those students who have a special need get some financial assistance for them as they enter school, a worthy or deserving student. And who gets involved? Fran, of course. She gets involved. She starts the ball rolling. Why is it necessary? Because Fran wants to make a change. Fran wants to see something new happening. And how does Fran get involved with advocacy? Not just on her own, but with others as well. Okay? Whether it be teachers, the principal, the school board, Ministry of Education. Look at that. Okay? And when do you get involved in advocacy? When you feel the need, that something is directly affecting you. Okay? All right. So, what do we have next? Okay? I have some tips for you for the month of September, and it is a bit of this and a bit of that from Donna's monthly diary. Okay? I do this every month. Okay? These tips are practical and natural, and I'm going to share them with you. Okay? So here's what I learned for the month of September. Number one, what is a great way to promote restful sleep? Wear a pair of socks on your feet. Your feet need to be kept warm. Okay. Wearing a pair of socks on your feet keeps your feet warm and promotes blood circulation to your feet. Number two, what is a good way to keep your microwave fresh and clean? On a regular basis, fill a cup with equal parts of vinegar and lemon juice. Okay? Place the cup of lemon juice and vinegar in your microwave and turn on your microwave on medium-high for about 2 minutes. When done, you leave the cup in the microwave and then remove it. And then you can use a soft cloth to wipe the sides of your microwave, the insides. Okay? Number 3, how do you grow tomatoes in an effective manner? Tomatoes love warm temperatures. Yeah? They do not thrive in colder weather. Okay, so keep that in mind. They love warmer temperatures, do not thrive in colder temperatures. Number 4. Have you heard about the double-decker scam? This is the type of scam where scammers obtain your financial details. Okay? They obtain your financial identity along with your personal identity. They use your financial identity to obtain your personal banking and credit card information. Okay? And they use your personal identity to obtain your address. And they use both identities to place orders. They use your financial identity and your personal identity. Because in a lot of cases, when placing orders, you're asked to provide both. So this is what scammers are doing. They're using financial identities and personal identities to scam you. And this is called the double-decker scam. Okay? And they come by to collect their package using your personal info, like your address and stuff like that. And they keep a watch on your porch and on your balcony and swoop in just when the driver has left the package and just before you open your door to pick up your package. Very ingenious, but now you know how to deal with it and what it involves. Okay. And here is a tip for you. Number 5, when cooking salmon, you do not need to cook it for more than 5 to 10 minutes. Spread a bit of butter in your skillet. Place the salmon skin down in your skillet. Cover and cook for between 5 to 10 minutes. I would go closer to 10 minutes, depending on the size of the piece of salmon. Number 6. Here is a tip about caffeine in your tea. Believe it or not, tea contains caffeine. Just like coffee, tea contains caffeine. Number 7. All about Wi-Fi connections on your riverboat cruise. The Wi-Fi connections are pretty iffy at the best of times when you are on a riverboat cruise. Yes, it is. Okay? Number 8. What about Wi-Fi connections in a hotel? They're pretty reliable. Okay? You can have access to a secured network, or sometimes you can also have access to an unsecured network. So be aware of that. The hotels are getting better at providing Wi-Fi protection to their guests. Okay? Number 9. If you're planning to Switzerland, here's a tip for you. This beautiful country is made up of lakes and mountains, and I know this because I visited Switzerland recently. And it is divided into what we call 4 cantons based on the language: French, German, Italian, and Austrian. And Switzerland is best known for being a neutral country. And why? Because it's bordered by France, by Germany, Italy, and Austria. So it is bordered on 4 sides: Germany, France, Austria, and Italy. And it's all because of its location that it remains a neutral country. Okay? And number 10. What is a safe way to wash your delicate clothes in your washer? Place your delicates in a mesh bag. Okay? And then you place the mesh bag in your washer, fill your washer with water and laundry soap, and away you go. See how well they wash. All right. So, again, if you want to contact me, please send an email to Donna Jodhan, DonnaJodhan, @gmail.com, or to me at AskDonna on Blind Life, all one word, @gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening to me. If you would like the show notes, please write to me. Or, write to me. And I wish you a great rest of the day, a great rest of the week, a great rest of the month. Stay safe, stay well. Thank you again, and see you in October. Bye for now.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Ask Donna, Advocacy in Action. Donna truly appreciates your time and support. Remember, your thoughts, comments, and feedback are always welcome. Just send them over to donnajodhan@gmail.com. Remember, together we can keep making a difference. Until next time, stay safe, stay strong, and keep advocating.